The Cuban Missile Crisis of October 1962 stands as perhaps the most perilous moment in human history, edging the world dangerously close to nuclear warfare. By the early 1960s, the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union was intensifying, with both superpowers amassing vast arsenals of nuclear weapons. This ideological confrontation saw the U.S. promoting capitalism and democracy, while the Soviet Union spread the tenets of communism globally. Each nation sought to counterbalance the other's influence, often seeing conflicts erupt in third-party nations. As a strategy of deterrence, both followed the doctrine of mutually assured destruction, MAD, implying that any nuclear attack by either would result in indiscriminate retaliation, ensuring mutual decimation. In this context, the United States had previously placed nuclear missiles in Turkey within striking distance of the Soviet Union. In retaliation and as a countermeasure, Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev covertly moved nuclear missiles to Cuba, just 90 miles off the Florida coast. The clandestine nature of this operation significantly heightened tensions upon discovery. American reconnaissance flights in mid-October captured images of these installations, provoking an immediate crisis deliberation chaired by President John F. Kennedy. Historical precedents further complicated matters. When Fidel Castro's revolution established a communist state in Cuba in 1959, the American government saw an unwelcome ideological shift so close to its borders. Kennedy's failed Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961, intended to overthrow Castro by using Cuban exiles, had already dealt a blow to U.S. prestige. Thus, Kennedy's resolve to confront the missile threat was sharpened by this earlier failure. The immediate U.S. response was to institute a naval quarantine around Cuba, a tactical term delineating a blockade without the legal ramifications. This move was designed to prevent further Soviet shipments of military hardware. At the same time, diplomatic channels were leveraged, with Kennedy engaging Khrushchev in intense negotiations. The Cuban Missile Crisis brought both superpowers to the brink. Khrushchev had to balance retaining Soviet honor with the practicalities of averting a nuclear showdown, while Kennedy had to avoid appearing weak or ineffective both domestically and internationally. The naval standoff reached a critical juncture when, on October 25th, Soviet ships approaching the quarantine line turned back, signaling a de-escalation. Talks continued, and eventually, a compromise was reached. The Soviets would withdraw their missiles from Cuba under UN supervision, and the U.S. would secretly remove its missiles from Turkey in subsequent months. Publicly, the resolution appeared to favor the United States, with pledges against future invasions of Cuba as the only conceded terms. Khrushchev's adherence to the secrecy of the missile removal from Turkey was crucial for this agreement. This crisis underscored the dangers of nuclear brinkmanship and imprinted the value of diplomatic negotiations over military confrontation in the annals of history.